You are listening to the Eskimo Empire Podcast, a proud member of the Canadian Football Podcast Network.
Welcome to the Empire. It's the Eskimo Empire Podcast.
This is Trevor Harris.
Hey, how you doing? This is number 58, Travis Bond.
This is Christoph Malomba Chimanga.
Hey there, this is your co-host, Kenny Stafford.
Hey, this is Ryan King.
Calvin McCarty.
And you are listening to...
You're listening to the Eskimos Empire.
Listening to the Eskimo Empire Podcast.
The Eskimo Empire Podcast. Hope you guys enjoy listening.
Welcome back to the Turf District. What a great CFL Week 1 it was. We are back to talk all things Esks and get you set for this week's game. I'm Andrew, and of course we are part of the Canadian Football Podcast Network, so make sure you check out all the great shows at cfpodnetwork.ca. And I want to say thanks to everyone that reached out and said that they enjoyed the night before football from the week, from the show last week. I always have a lot of fun writing it, but I love when people actually enjoy it and get back to me and tell me that they liked it. So tell us which one was your favorite, but I know my favorite to write was probably the BC one, but the Ryder one was fun too.
The Ryder one.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that was pretty fun. Of course, I am joined this week by mover extraordinaire, superfan Mike.
Oh, it hasn't even started yet.
I can only...
But we got our date, so that's good.
Yes, I know you're getting all excited.
Yeah,
that's
I have
good.
An official possession date of the new house. So.
Excellent.
And I just hope it's ready.
Ah, me too. Yeah.
Works out well because the next day we're renting out the old house.
So that's good. Oh, it's important. Yeah.
No problem
at all.
Yeah, I can get everything out of there and cleaned and ready for the next people.
Yeah.
Sure.
You'll be fine.
I got a day.
I know.
And I work.
You're very efficient.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's turn the house off and on again.
Perfect.
Yeah.
I like this.
Well,
this is an excellent IT approach. Also joining us, of course, is new grad and photo extraordinaire, or photographer extraordinaire, one Commissioner Kayla.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm good, because Ken just clapped, and it made me full of joy, even though I'm not showing it very well.
Well, it's not a video podcast.
We can It's okay. We're used to it not being a video podcast, but your emotions come through in your words, and that's lovely.
Do they?
Absolutely. Hey, congrats on your degree.
Thank you.
That's very exciting.
Yeah, it is.
Was it a fun day?
It was the perfect day.
Yeah? Awesome.
It didn't start out, but it ended, like, the rest of the day was amazing.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
I liked you wore the hat to the tailgate. That was pretty cool.
I had to. I wore that thing all day. I didn't care. I was like, even to the restaurant, I'm like...
Mortarboard!
And the tassels were the right color, so it was great.
Exactly. Right? That's why I wore it all day. And then strangers congratulated me. I just felt like the queen.
No, that's awesome. Now, speaking of feeling like the queen, what was it like being down on the field?
Let's just say that when you guys make noise, it's effective.
Yeah.
I got chills.
Really?
I didn't realize how loud it actually gets down there.
That's awesome.
So I was down there with Kenny's second touchdown. And the roar of the crowd was unbelievable.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
25,000.
I wish I could just watch all the games down there. It was electrifying.
Oh, that's very, very cool. I didn't realize you got to stay down for quite that long. But
well, I went down early, so I wasn't sure like how to do it or what to do. It's very intimidating because like most of it is like large, very large men. And I just walk down and I'm just like, I don't know. Like,
awesome.
What can I do? What are my parameters and my
Flash
boundaries?
your credentials.
That's right. Yeah. Did you do that?
I
Did you Wayne's World it? Yeah.
No, I wish I had more confidence, but I was like, but all the security people are actually really nice to me, so they could probably like see the fear in my eyes. Like, also because it's Fred Stamps, right? So it's like my dream. I love going on the field during a game. Then it's Fred Stamps. I was just like overloaded with information.
Yes.
And excitement that I was just like...
Please cut that out and save it for other shows.
Oh, I'm just going to put it at the beginning of every show.
Excellent. I do appreciate
New
that.
intro music.
I cannot wait for welcome to the CF Pod Network. That's Fred. That's outstanding. I cannot wait. That's going to be great. All right. Well, I I don't know what the right word is, but I was proud to see you down there. I was excited for you, and it's awesome to see your great work as we get to see the pictures afterwards and get them up on the site and all those things so people can see what you're doing so well.
Yeah.
So it was awesome.
It was cool to see myself. Like in pictures, I was like, "Oh, there I am! Oh my gosh!" It was easy to spot because everyone around me was in black, and then there's like this gray penny, and I'm like, "That's me!"
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, no, it's awesome. It was very, very cool. Now we're a little bit late, but I do want to say Happy Father's Day to everyone in the Empire.
Yes.
Did you have a good day yesterday, Superfan?
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Went to the zoo.
Excellent.
Apparently, I was there at the same time as a couple of weeks ago guest JT West.
Oh, nice. Okay.
I had no idea until we got home. We were there for like 2.5 hours each, like overlapped by like 2 3/4 hours practically.
Yeah.
So
Under a bridge, over a bridge.
Yeah, pretty much.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun, and it was just a gorgeous day, and just a fun time to just hang out with the family.
Awesome. Very, very good. That's fantastic.
And you?
I did a whole lot of nothing because that's not true. I did a
Dad's
whole
dream.
lot of dad stuff,
Right.
cleaning, laundry, cooking.
You're
Living
not
the dream.
supposed to on that day. That's your one veto card.
My wife is out of town, so it was all
Who was
dad
that
all the
lady that
time.
let me in?
So what's up?
Who was that lady that let me in?
Yeah, that's her. She's back now.
Oh,
yeah, it's
okay.
good to follow that up. Now we have a wonderful guest this week,
Yes, let's
a
get to
brand
that
new
guest.
fan who's been sitting so patiently as we've all been talking about all of our things.
Yep.
Now we've been lucky enough to be on his show when
Yes.
he's on CBC. He's asked us to come on and talk some Eskimo stuff with him.
Why, we don't know sometimes.
I know, I have no idea.
No one
after
does.
very bad things have happened.
Usually, yeah, I know. She talks some positive stuff. So, needless to say, we brought you here as a fan. So, welcome to the show, Ken. We're glad to have you down in the Turf District.
Thank you very much. It's very exciting to be here. To
Nice.
see
Candid
all of
Ken
these
this
wonderful
time.
things, see you guys, and to meet Kayla.
That's awesome.
So pleased to be here.
Yeah.
Oh, good. Well, we love having you here. Give us a little bit of your history with the team. When did you kind of start watching football, and when did you kind of know you became an Eskimo fan?
I think I probably have to credit my dad for that. He was, like most Albertans, from Saskatchewan, right? And he was a Riders fan, and so we always
loved him
had
anyway.
CFL. Had CFL games on the television back then. Back then, of course, not all the games were televised.
Nope.
Of course
right?
not,
So
yeah.
you were lucky to see an away game. So yeah, I watched a lot of football, and to his credit, he didn't try to brainwash me.
Good for him.
'cause, so many people come from Saskatchewan, and they try to
That's right.
Get
Yeah.
the kids
Must be
screaming.
this.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Suck in the children.
He let me
Yeah.
choose the team that I wanted to cheer for, and I remember he took me to my first game probably in 79, I guess. It was a game against the Riders, and we sat in the end zone in Commonwealth Stadium, and back then the Riders weren't very good.
That was
And-
Ron Lancaster's first year as a coach. I think they went 2-14.
Yeah, I remember that game was a blowout. I had a great time. Dad, not so much.
You just had to teach him to go to the right shade of green. That's really what it comes down to. Excellent.
We talked a little bit on the Periscope about your favorite player. So who's your favorite player when you were growing up, and then who's your favorite player now?
Well, I would think the first guy that really made an impact on me was Larry Highbaugh. Just a guy full of incredible talent. The guy had a vertical that was unbelievable. He had speed. He was a great kick returner,
Yeah.
really flashy guy, but not
Great interview.
Yeah, great interview. Yeah, he was
Oh boy, I wish I could.
not
interview
afraid
him.
to
Yeah.
express his opinion and whatnot. I remember in probably the late 70s, he would make the circuit around junior and senior high schools at Edmonton,
Absolutely.
and he would play the entire volleyball team. One guy against the entire school team. And I was on the junior high team, and he came and mopped the floor with us. It was like the one game I didn't mind losing.
Yep.
But the guy was everywhere. He was just so quick.
Yeah.
There was no way you could beat him. And so, that really cemented in my mind that this is a guy that, really, I admired the guy. He was so much fun to watch. And I had a bit of a personal connection to him. Back in 75, I think it was, at the neighborhood mall, Middle Arc Mall, there was a contest. And one kid from each grade, 1 to 6, you would submit your name and you could win a dinner with Larry Highbaugh.
Really?
And so I remember putting my name in, and I think my dad put an an entry in, and I don't know. I had this weird feeling that I was gonna win this thing, and then about a week later, I got the phone call.
Wow!
Guess what? You've won. You're the grade 5 representative.
That's awesome.
To have dinner with Larry Highbaugh. So we go to the mall. We get picked up in this giant stretch limo. First time I've ever been in a limousine.
Holy crap!
And so we've got 6 guys in a limo with Larry, and we're all playing with the windows and annoying the driver. The partitions going up and down. We roll up to the Chateau Lacombe like rock stars.
Yep.
We get out, go up to the revolving restaurant.
Le Ronde.
Wow,
Yeah.
yeah. And we had dinner there. I don't know. I can't remember what I ate, but I remember Larry ordered a Tom Collins.
Oh, a gin man.
And we
Extra points for Larry.
We had Shirley Temples and Roy Rogers.
Yep.
Nice.
And he was just so good. To put up
He was great with kids.
With 6 little guys that were just, how.
Yeah, well, you're when you're that age, it's like
Yeah.
just get after it.
But it looked
right?
like he really enjoyed it. And it just, that guy just had a way with kids, and I think he realized that he could make. This was before teams, had marketing departments with, programs to community outreach and ways to increase engagement. In quotation marks.
Wasn't even a word.
Yeah,
really.
exactly.
Yeah.
I think this is a guy that just, he liked to interact with the community, and that was the kind of guy he was. And he went on to work with autistic kids, later in his career. And he was just a fantastic guy. I'll remember that forever.
Awesome.
What about
You're
a current
forever,
player?
man.
I mean, it's different now because it's like,
gonna
okay,
say-
where's the program again?
Well,
Let me pull up the
Roster.
depth chart. Yeah.
We should probably touch on Brian Kelly for a while.
Okay.
Sure. He was, I think my absolute all-time favorite player. And in the modern age, of course, Mike Riley.
Yeah.
Hard
Have a
not
thing
to.
for 13s.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and I mean, granted, I mean, hard not to. I mean, Mike's a good guy and quite a leader and all those types of things, and now we can lose all the time. It's fine. I'm
That's
not
fair.
bitter. Yeah, I have to actually. I'm going to interject for 1 second. It was interesting because I had the BC Winnipeg game on Saturday
Right.
night, and my son started watching it. My older son Riley, and I didn't realize how bitter he was about Mike leaving.
Yeah. Well, when your name's Riley.
When your name is Riley and you're 12 years old, and this is the quarterback that you know, and
And the only one you've probably known.
really, that you've really known his name and all these types of things. And the game came on, and he said, "I hope BC loses. I hope they sack him over and over again." I'm like, "Whoa!"
That didn't take long.
I'm like,
Puberty
"Okay."
struck.
I said, "Well, you know what? He wanted to be close to his family." Like, and he's like, "Doesn't matter."
Sounds
Like-
like me.
It's like being on Esks fans right
he
now.
was totally like, "Oh man." I'm like, "Okay, well,
Cutthroat.
sorry, Mike." Yeah.
You're dead
You
to
just
me.
got cut out of the will. That's right. Yeah, exactly. Oh my. All right, Kayla.
Oh, sorry. I was like, what did you ask? What did you ask me? All right. Well, we saw all your fabulous books that you put together. Very well done. You're very artistic. We
Yeah,
all
right.
appreciate it very much. Do you have any favorite memorabilia from
Oh,
the
I think I know
Eskimos?
what's coming now.
Yeah.
I've got a signed Brian Kelly print that is up on the wall. That's probably. I don't collect a lot of
Any
memorabilia.
jerseys?
I do have a jersey. Funny you should mention that. Yes, I have a game-worn signed Stu Hill jersey.
Sir.
And
Nice.
I have to mention that came from my buddy Morty Scott. Picked it up at I think it was an auction somewhere, and for my 40th birthday,
Wow.
we wrapped it up, brought it over.
That is awesome.
Yeah,
Morley's such
I've
a
yet
good
to
dude.
wash that thing. It's because I'm so afraid that the signature is going to wash out.
Right.
I appreciate
This would have been the
That's
week to
gonna
do it
go.
because he maybe could have signed it again. But
Yeah, and I've got stains all over it from mustard, stadium
Right.
mustard, and ketchup hot dogs. And so
you always need to wrap yourself in a poncho whenever you wear it.
That's right. Yeah.
yeah, but Morty and I go way back. We worked at the same station years ago. He got his first break in the big city. He was the sports director at CFCW. too.
Right.
And I was at K-Light at the time. That was the sister FM station. So we go back a long ways. And,
96.3.
I have to ask,
Wow.
is this
That's
this
awesome.
the chair that Morley sits in when he's here?
Usually, yes.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Can you tell?
I'm a little worried. I have a story about Morley in chairs. We used to go.
That might be an after dark podcast.
Years ago, we worked together at the station. We used to go out on bike rides through the River Valley on Saturday afternoons, and with Morley's buddy Sid, and he's now at Ched.
Mm-hmm.
And we would go for long rides, and we'd come back, and we were at our place after the ride one day, and my wife made some cinnamon buns and brought them out on the deck with us, and we're enjoying them in the sunshine, and then all of a sudden, I heard a crack.
Oh, no.
The plastic deck chair he was on just completely disintegrated. He's lying on his back on the deck, looking up with this W2F look on his face. Yeah. I'm not miss a beat. I looked down. You want another cinnamon bun, Morley? So I'm just a little worried about this.
Yes,
That's
please.
right.
No,
I love
good.
that guy. He's a good sport. Sorry, Morley.
He is. He's a great dude. Great dude.
Yeah.
All right, let's get into some Esks news.
Yes, sir.
Now, the depth chart came out on Thursday.
Yes.
Couple of maybe some surprises and not so surprises, I guess.
There's some that really kind of blew me away.
But there was a couple, yeah. On the IR, JSK, Bazzi, Bond, Hakuna Matata, Davaris Daniels, all on the IR. Now, most of those on the one game.
But not Malumba Shimanga.
Not Malumba.
Gamed.
What?
Yeah.
I thought I
Brutal.
saw his hair on the sidelines.
He was there.
Yeah. And
But to be 6 game, that was a shocker because I don't remember him being injured at all.
no, he must have done it in practice somewhere. And but I'm like, oh man. I guess the one good thing about it is, I mean, maybe some of these big names we have them out early, and it means we get them for the stretch run.
Yep.
Yeah.
And they've got fairly decent depth behind these guys, too, though.
Oh, for sure.
Which showed on
some of those
Friday
guys
night.
are depth, right? I mean, Malumba Shimanga is a great special teamer.
Absolutely.
And he can play either will or middle linebacker. So
It's just a treat to watch.
Oh, absolutely. It's just we're hoping he can come back soon, but wow, that hurts.
Yeah, absolutely. The other Esks news, I guess, is today we re-signed, or at least back onto the practice roster, Nick Taylor. So we knew he wasn't going to go far, I guess.
Well, we also had the spot, right? Because with Jean-Simon Roy getting poached by the BC Lions, we had an extra spot on the practice roster.
Right.
So easy to pull him on. So
It also makes me a little worried about, the severity of that injury.
100%
whether
agree.
this
Well, he got an
Taylor
MRI
move
today.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And whether the Taylor move is a result of that, if they think they could be without
Or
him for a
backup,
while.
yeah, I mean, we could put Walker.
Yep,
go into
Brian
that
Walker
spot, I
can
think.
step up. Yep.
And then we've got Nick Taylor as a more experienced backup. He's got a couple of years CFL experience, so I think that's good. They also did say that Santos Knox is practicing, so that's a great thing.
So what was
That's
the
a good
injury
news.
to Donnie?
Upper body.
Upper body is all they said.
Because they didn't even say it on TSN. Nothing was announced.
They did say it was upper body during the halftime.
And
I fast-forwarded through that.
Yeah.
That's why. Okay.
Yeah, but he... I saw him after the game. We went down for the kids club a bit early, and I got to give credit. So Ryan King, Sean White, Don Unamba, Ricky Collins, and Godfrey Onyeka.
Yep.
They
he's
all
good with kids.
came by and high-fived and signed stuff for kids early before they were even let on the field. And just, and wanting to be there. It wasn't like they were forced to go over and do it. They all came over to talk to the people. It was really, really cool.
Yeah. They enjoy it.
Yeah, absolutely.
You get that sense.
This is the future generation. These are the kids that are going to grow up to be adults, to be like us, get those season tickets, and go to games.
Yeah, you really love those scenes. I think that happened at Fan Day. Was it one of the players was playing catch with
Onyeka.
That was Onyeka. Yeah, and Stafford. He was doing it as well. So, it's awesome that they do that. I mean, I'm standing there. I'm the big... Hey, where's my high five? What the hell? Come on.
I'm a big kid.
I'm excited about this. Jeez.
Well, even Onyeka was out early in Fan Day and played games. He played 4 in a row and smoked me.
Yeah, he was playing
each
Connect
time.
4 with
Or
Riley
Connect
too,
4,
yeah.
And he tested the zip line out.
Yeah.
Oh, did so he's a kid at
awesome.
heart, yeah.
Yeah, he's awesome. All right, let's talk about our game. So, Esks win 32-25. A much closer game than any of us imagined, but there's a lot of good things to talk about. So, let's start with some of the good things in the game. What was the best thing that stood out to you, Ken?
Well, as I mentioned in the Periscope, I think it was just how good this offense looked. Everybody was expecting it to take a little bit of time for all these new faces to gel together and to, get in sync, the quarterback to get in sync with the receivers. But we saw Harris have no problems at all. He got rid of the ball so quickly. The pressure couldn't get to him. His first read was there all the time. He was throwing beautiful balls all night, right on target. It was really nice to see that. And I guess when you mix in a runner like Gable, actual balance.
Yeah. Actual balance, super fan.
And the O-line looked good, although, as I mentioned, he got rid of the ball quickly, so there wasn't a lot of time for the defense to get after him. But the O-line looked absolutely good, absolutely fine, too.
I would 100% agree with that.
The tackles especially. The tackles, I thought, had a really good game.
Draheim absolutely stood out to me.
Yeah. And they started running early, and they stuck with it. And you could just tell it was wearing down that Montreal defense. And by the fourth quarter, there were just giant holes that Gable was galloping through. So, you stick with that running game the entire 60 minutes, and it pays off, right?
Absolutely. Commissioner?
Well, I thought the same thing, too, was just like Harris didn't miss a step with this offense. And that's what oddly, my predictions have been reversed because I was like, defense is going to kill it. And
which they mostly did.
They did, like first Mike said, they did fine. But for me, that's not good enough.
Yes.
I hold my D to high expectations because I know what they're capable of. And I want to see unrestricted plays because of what Benny did. I want to see completely the offense's destruction from the opposition.
Right.
Without, illegal things. But you know what I mean.
Yeah, we had that.
To be fair to Montreal, I mean, both quarterbacks that were in the game were they're more mobile quarterbacks, so they were able to elude that pressure a lot. But you could tell they were pressured, which I thought was great. For me, the balance, like everyone's been saying, has just been outstanding.
Yep.
When you can keep other defenses off balance because they don't know what's coming, it just makes everyone have to be honest and gave us a lot.
Actually had play action that worked.
Of course it will.
That touchdown to Kenny Stafford, the second one.
Yes.
And they even said it on TSN. Set it up with the run, set it up with the run, set it up with the run. Play action, everybody bites. Kenny's wide open to go into the end zone. And it was so nice to see a play action work. We're so used to the half-hearted, there's play action in quotations, but yes. But this was true play action. It was awesome. It was great to see.
Well, so just going off of that, but my thing that's really stood out was actually the partnership of Harris and Stafford. It looked like they were friends for life. It's so weird. They didn't look like they hadn't played, before then. It looked like they've been playing together for years.
Absolutely.
It was just a chemistry that I was like, hi, I like this, especially because we love Kenny. And to have Harris come in and then to see them on the sidelines actually laughing and talking and sharing this bond, it was phenomenal. And because I was down there when Kenny caught that and ran in for the touchdown, so it was that uproar, and I think that's kind of fed my love for this brotherhood we got going on right there.
It was pretty cool.
It was a bromance.
Pretty cool.
So, a whole new perspective on the field, isn't it? You can smell it.
All
that inappropriate language.
All of it.
That was
glorious. Glorious.
That was from C. Yeah. Actually, I was pretty good at this game, mostly. Let's just talk about T Sniper's statistics because we did put it out there. 32 of 41, so 78% completion, 447 yards, 3 TDs, and of course the 1 TD that he ran in. Accurate AF. Can we say that?
Oh, yeah. And don't forget, it had 78% second down completion.
Oh, it's crazy.
That's fantastic completion percentage.
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely. And again, like you said, with the offensive line giving him that time.
Yeah. I mean, he didn't need much, but...
No, but still.
The decisions were so quick.
Yeah.
It wasn't dancing around in the pocket looking at third and fourth read. It was made a decision right away.
Yep.
And it was there every single
so
time.
Lovely to see a quarterback get off the ball right there. Yeah.
Good adjustment.
Yeah.
That's
like
good.
Trevor Harris. I gotta adjust.
Yeah, right there. 608 total offensive yards. I don't think any of us saw that coming.
And this has been discussed by other people as well. This is the first time we've had over 600 combined yards since 1997.
Wow.
That means Ricky Ray never did it,
Yeah.
and Mike Riley never did it.
Put that in perspective.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Only like the 7th or 8th time we've had over 600 yards.
Yes.
In the history of the team.
Oh, and also a massive earthquake.
Yes.
Oh, it's lovely. I loved it. Loved it. I loved how he shoved Usher away so that he could swing his baseball run. That was outstanding. Good job, Kwaku. Now, it wasn't all beds of roses.
No.
There were a couple of things that were not so good. Do you have a not so good that we need to mention there, Ken?
Well, I think it's pretty obvious. We still haven't found a kick returner. It looked like perhaps maybe in the preseason,
but he was
Robinson was going to be the guy. But just a couple of brain farts. You could just tell he lost all of his confidence.
Yeah.
And when he did hang onto the ball, he was hesitating. He was approaching the pack. Yeah, and that decision on the one.
Yeah, now, granted, we turned that around.
Yeah, it was 109 yards of offense and a touchdown afterwards. Right. But yeah, that was a massive brain fart. Yeah,
heartbreaking. Heartbreaking to watch.
Yeah, he'll get his confidence. Yeah. AJ will help him through it. That's my positive spin on that. That's right. He's going to pull out the short shorts again.
That's the power. Yeah. That's a special power.
The power of the short shorts,
like
Jordan.
Samson had shorts.
Except opposite.
Yes.
Commissioner.
Kind of more on not so much of like the physical game aspect, but some of the attitudes I saw coming from the younger players, especially on the defense. I won't mention any names, but I will mention a nickname called Money.
Oh, okay.
Rewatching it, I saw some things that I didn't like. I saw some attitudes I didn't like. I saw an ego that I didn't like. Same with Josh Johnson.
Mm-hmm.
Josh
number 26.
Yeah, 26.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Those two guys, I just like, calm down. You can't be making stupid decisions, because actually, Money got away with one. He shoved a guy down, and that could have been a penalty. He got away with one. I was actually quite furious watching that game before pod. But yeah, just some of those things you got to clean up, because they lead to penalties, and they lead to us stabbing ourselves in the foot.
Yeah,
so
I agree.
Yeah,
shot off a lot of toes and that.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness!
Shout out to Orange though. I mean, he actually cooled some situations down. So I thought that was a very good veteran move. Yeah. Love it.
Super fan?
Penalties. Come
you were going to say
on. Like they talked, Moss talked a lot in the training camp and the preseason about how they were going to clean things up, because last year we started off with all those penalties and didn't clean up until halfway through the season. Yeah. And it's the same thing. It's like what's old is new again.
Well, they did have some
dumb
issues.
Ones.
Yeah.
Little couple of roughing the passers that extended drives. One unnecessary roughness that was not an unnecessary. No, he tried everything he could to get it out of the way. Put his hand on his shoulder and flopped ahead, and that was it.
Yeah. Well, you can
thank the Sky supposed to do something about that.
Wow,
you can thank Simone Lawrence for those.
But that's
true,
and that's probably why. Yeah. Exactly. The bad thing in this game for me, no Westivus.
Oh, that's true.
But it was
rough.
I blame Tom Cochran.
And you know what?
Sampson.
So do I. It was not that
dope.
Good.
Oh, I
well, I was hoping he'd play older. Tom Cochran
I thought
Red Ryder.
I was going to say, if it's Red Ryder, play Lunatic Fringe.
Where's White Hot?
Yeah, you know why he couldn't do that? Because he can't hit those notes anymore.
Well, who among us can?
It was unfortunate. It was not as good as I thought. Anyway, it wasn't horrible. But
you needed to be down there.
I guess so.
It was better than what we've seen in the last couple of years.
Well,
I don't know, man. Ludacris was pretty ballin'.
If you looked around the stands...
No one's ever said Tom Cochran is ballin'. No. I will give you that.
No, that's but it was no Westivus, so that's what I
mean, that was for the fans that were there. I think it was inappropriate.
Yeah. Oh yeah. For sure. No, I'm
exactly.
I'm just being a smart guy. Turnovers though, that was my bad.
Yeah.
4 turnovers. We still found a way to win.
Yeah.
So I mean,
Ricky had one and he made up for it big time.
Yeah. Absolutely, yes.
Money Hunter had one.
To his defense, though, that they left the defense on the field for that
Wow, is that why he returned?
That's
I was so confused.
They were trying to blitz the kicker to get it off.
Well, didn't Montreal, they were kind of hedging as to whether they were going to gamble or kick. They sent the kick team on. The Eskimos left their defense on the field, and that's why.
And
it was Money Hunter down there.
Yeah, that's not exactly his job description. But
it's like not a video podcast. They can't see that.
I was like, thank God it's not Jordan. He can't take any more heat.
Nice. Anybody have any more kudos, I guess, on the Montreal side of things? Because they did some good things.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I thought Vernon Adams came in and looked really good.
Yeah.
Like,
I
mean, he was against
a
very shuffled secondary at that point with the injury to Unamba and Glass coming. Glass had a rough game.
Yeah.
But I think Vernon Adams did very well when
that happens so often though when you change quarterbacks and you spent all week prepping for one.
Right.
The first game we ever saw Mike Riley play as a starter was against us.
Right.
Go figure.
Yeah.
And Lule pulled up lame in warm-ups.
Yeah.
So we didn't know we were facing Riley until an hour before the game.
That's
at that
true.
point, the hay's in the barn, right? You already prepped for one type of quarterback.
Yeah.
I mean, they have similar styles, but they're definitely different. So
Yeah. Yeah, but I mean, got to give him some kudos for that.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'd give a couple kudos to Standback as well.
Yep.
Yeah.
Good game. Yeah, he kind of stood out to me. So
BJ Cunningham had a nice game.
Yeah.
A great catch in the end zone.
Yeah.
That was good with a battled catch with Taekwon and ended up pulling it down.
Yeah,
so.
he's one of those guys that you can almost count on, one case of dropsy a game, but he caught everything thrown to him.
Yeah, very true.
Yeah.
Very true.
What about props to Coach Jones?
Yeah.
Not this Coach Jones.
Kahari.
Let's make that clear.
Good point. Yeah,
Yeah.
KJ. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he came in, 2 weeks ago?
Not even.
Not
a week.
even 2? Yeah.
Like week 10 days.
And to pull off, like, a comeback like that, I mean, mind you, it's players too, but, like, props to him for actually making a stand.
Nice.
I'm quite proud of Montreal, if I do say so myself.
Good, yeah.
I thought they were going to get
They can win other weeks. They didn't need to win this week.
No, I hope they do well.
Except against us.
Except, they have one more they have to lose. Yeah, exactly.
They
can
can go
win
16-2.
That's fine. Yeah, I'm perfectly fine with that. Yeah. All right. Let's talk player of the game on the Eskimos side of the ball. So, Superfan, I'm going to start with you this time.
I'm going to kind of go off the board here.
I am surprised, actually. I thought for sure you were going. Okay.
I know. I'm actually going to give my game ball to Jordan Maximic.
Oh, nice.
I thought
That's
we had a
great
really
pull.
good balance on offense. I mean, I think Moss is probably doing some of the play calling on the field. But between the two of them, they put a really great offense together, I thought, for this game.
Yeah.
Balanced everything out, kept everyone on their toes, and I think we saw the proof in the pudding.
Seemed like an actual plan.
Yeah. Exactly.
That is a great call.
Thank you.
Extra game ball points for you.
There we go.
All right, Ken.
I think I'd probably go a more obvious route. You could have chosen either Harris, Ricky Collins Jr., or Gable.
Yeah.
One of those guys. You can't go wrong. I mean, the stats. Just look at the numbers.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah,
can't argue any of those. Yeah. Kayla?
That's what makes it so hard. Is like you just
okay. You just get to pick one.
I know, but let me get there.
I will.
I mean, there's no other one for me to pick because it all happened because of said person. But when you put up 447 in your first game as an Eskimo, Harris.
Yeah. Okay. That's fair. I get it.
We got down.
I get it.
Top 20 Eskimo games of all time.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I am going to give my game ball to Ricky Collins Jr. because in the first, 20-ish minutes of the game, I was quite ready to dub him Mr. Pushup. And he then made me eat my words and had a bounce back.
And they tasted so good.
Oh, yeah. It was great. He really turned that around, was catching everything. And it wasn't just like catching it, there was actual yak.
Lots of yak.
So I love that. And if I could give some, in the same direction as far as Maximic is concerned, I was so happy to see guys catching balls in flight.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
There was no running and stopping and turning and catching the ball and then having to run. It was absolutely in flight, right on the numbers, catch it and keep running.
Yep. If there was a seam, they found it, and others found it.
It's a lot easier to find a stream when you're catching it
Please,
inside.
all year. I love that play. Just that Yeah, that first Kenny TD was like a shout out to UT, right
honorary
down the
mention.
middle and on the
Honorary
fire.
mention to Kenny Stafford.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah.
He had a great game.
Yeah.
2 touchdowns.
Yeah.
Great to take him in fantasy.
Yes.
He was super cheap.
Not
and,
fair.
I know.
Yeah,
Hey,
good job. Yeah, kind of.
just saying.
Lovely. All right, then.
And not to be a Debbie Downer, but one negative that I think no one's really mentioned was the 25,000 announced attendance.
Yes.
Did that not raise a few eyebrows?
Well, it was supposed to be raining.
Red flags.
Yeah.
True.
I think it was
But
weather,
still.
but I think
And it's Montreal.
I think there's a lot of people too that are still show me it's better without Mike.
Yeah.
But
I think there is
this
that.
is something that has been happening for the last decade
yeah.
or so.
Or even
Every
more.
season, we're seeing like a 3, 4, 5% drop in overall attendance, and that has to be getting a little alarming. I mean, pretty soon this
This
league
is why they're doing the 2.0,
Yeah.
where they're trying to get more eyes on TV.
it's going to be a league that depends solely on television revenue and Grey Cup revenue.
Yeah.
That's I don't know. That's a red flag for
Well,
me.
how are the viewership of like streaming and stuff? Is that increasing?
I don't think I've
I
seen the
don't
numbers
think I've
yet.
seen anything
Okay,
yet.
because
yeah.
if people aren't going, they're probably streaming it. But
Are they, though? Are they watching?
well, that's
the
what I want to
question.
know is if they're watching it. Then I mean, it sucks. You would rather have people in the stands, but if the league is still making money, that's something. Then just no one showing up or watching, which would suck even more.
Yep.
But
Well, you were just
this,
on the field. What would it be like if there was no crowd yelling?
well, and the problem with this country is it's become so hockey centric that it's hard to compete anymore. Like that's
or
all they.
basketball centric
Well,
last week.
who was it? Mojo or
What?
Brian was talking about. Like they're talking about the Canucks right now
Oh yes,
over the
yeah.
Lions. Like
Yeah.
W freaking.
Yeah, no, I agree.
It happens in this city.
It's
It's
too-
every Canadian city.
Well, that's the problem. I
Maybe
hate
not
it.
Regina.
Yeah, maybe
That's
not
true.
in
That's why they have such a hardcore following, though. Like
They
we
have
should.
no NHL team.
Well, I know,
not in
but that's why
Hamilton.
we
Yeah.
should be envious because like that's what we want.
We almost were.
Yeah, that's pretty close.
We
yeah.
almost lost
It's
the
a very
Oilers.
Oilers-centric town, and that's why I
Has been since
like to make efforts to get guys like you on our show because
That's
I
right.
think the local media could do a lot better job.
Sure.
In
Just-
in talking football and Eskimos, there are a lot of fans out there.
Yeah,
Well, I mean,
absolutely.
even if we're talking only 25,000,
Yeah,
still 25,000 people that go to the games, right? So there obviously is a market.
Yeah.
yes,
I mean, the biggest thing for me is like, is only 60,000 for the 50-50?
yeah, I know that was
Wow.
weird, eh? Yeah,
I mean,
My.
you talk to anyone from Toronto, they're like 60? That's 3 seasons in a row combined for us. But yeah, I mean,
Usually,
just to see
we're
it.
breaking 100 each
Yeah.
game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're sort of thinking, wow, I guess there must not have been as many people.
Or
But
just everyone's super broke right now for some reason.
we will see what it's like next week. I mean, next
Yeah.
week, if you can't draw for Mike Riley's return,
yeah,
especially
Then-
when Bodog's got us as 4.5 over, like favorites.
yeah.
Interesting.
Well, and
be interesting, all
I
right.
don't think too, like you say, you said it. Prove to me that this team's going to be good without Mike.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry. This might offend people. Like I care, but this is the Eskimos, not Mike Riley.
But there are
No.
But there are a lot of fans.
You got to
in the-
separate. This is a business. This is what happens.
I agree.
You can't have it all ways. Like you either support the team or you don't.
But now lots of people are going, well, I don't.
Well, then sure, but don't come crawling on back just because we're doing well.
No, we want them to crawl back.
This is
That's
a
the thing.
relationship for like no.
Crawl back
I
and
can't
it's
stand
We
fans
the
like
bandwagon.
that. No, I
right.
can't. I can't.
Yes.
There's our
That's
shirt.
different though. That is cool to have like a whole country behind. That's cool though.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying like these fair weather fans. Like, come on, just you're exhausting.
the thing is that you know when you miss the playoffs, and we've had some of the controversy we have had in the last couple of years with Moss and his outbursts and the discipline issues, and then Rhodes and the people that like and don't like him, and then Mike Riley leaves, and there's enough that people there are some. I'm not saying that they're right. I'm just saying there are enough people
Everyone's got
that
their
would
own
be going,
reasons.
well, prove to me it's worth coming back. And let me tell you, if you didn't watch the game last week, watch the game this one, because they're going to start bringing people back
I get
with
like season
excitement.
ticket holders and stuff. Like you don't. That's. I mean, it's not like Oilers season ticket. It's freaking expensive.
Right.
But I get that. But at the same time, like you can still support your team. Watch it on TSN or something.
Yeah, we just
Like,
want to
you-
bring people out, though.
Don't be so
inviting,
bitter. Like
right?
all these bitter Bettys. Holy crap. Like, jeez.
Betty's all right.
I mean, it's not like we're the players putting our lives on the line and our whole like physicality on the line. We're fans sitting there and cheering. Like, we bring our job is to help them.
Yeah.
So if we don't, then we are failing them in a way. So.
I agree.
Let's see what the numbers look like this week.
I agree.
Something to watch.
We will see. Yeah. All right, let's take a quick break on that happy thought, and we'll come back with our CFPN game preview, our pick'ems for this week, and of course the Eskimos history moment.
This is Blake Dermott, and you're listening to the Eskimo Empire Podcast.
Get loud for me. Get loud for me. Get loud for me. Hands in the crowd, we tearing it down.
You can join the Empire online.
Find us at eskempire.ca.
Check out all the new blogs and then follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram.
For more history, follow at Esks History on Twitter.
And even more of my pics on Esk Empire Photo.
Don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe to help the pod grow. Thanks again for listening. Let's get back to the show. Welcome back. It is time once again for that honored moment where we travel back into history with the Eskimo History Moment.
Let's hear you cheer and holler for a mighty famous team. Let's hear you roar, you know what, for a team that's on the beat. Our voices rise up to the skies, the fans are glad to scream. We love those Eskimos.
Welcome back to the Eskimos History Moment. Football teams are constantly trying to improve their rosters, get better every time. Each move like a chess game. You release a player, you sign someone new, you draft someone you think can be a player, and then you trade one player for another or multiple players. The Eskimos have done all of these things and more since they rejoined the league, and like all teams, have had some astonishing moves, some huge misses, and everything on the spectrum in between. 35 years ago this week, Edmonton and Calgary swapped one legend for a player with potential that turned out to be one of those home run plays that, in retrospect, makes you wonder how such a lopsided deal happened in the first place, but we're sure glad it did. 1983 saw the Eskimos miss playing in the Grey Cup for only the second time in 11 years. Warren Moon had left the team. Dave Fennell, Dale Potter, and Larry Highbaugh had retired, among others, before the 1984 training camp opened, and with Father Time being undefeated, the time was ticking on the dynasty players. Halfway through the 1983 season, the coach brought in to replace the legendary Hugh Campbell, Pete Catella, was unceremoniously fired after leading the Eskimos to a 4-4 record, to be replaced by legendary Eskimo Jack Parker. Edmonton decided they didn't want to do a rebuild, they were going to reload, and GM Norm Kimball sent scouts and player personnel gurus Frankie Morris and Ray Newman to go and get young up-and-comers. 3 hours south, the Stampeders had finished with the same 8-8 record the Eskimos had, but due to tie-breaking rules, they were on the outside looking in, while the Eskimos went to the playoffs for the 12th straight year. Both teams felt they needed to do something to shake things up and perhaps make a splash. They were mired in a contract dispute with a player, finishing his second year with the team, and he had even notified the league his intention to retire rather than continue, so the Stampeders felt they had nothing to lose, even if in his first 2 years he had been named the West All-Star at his position. Edmonton fans hate when a fan favorite is traded, and nobody wants to see us dealing with Calgary, but on June 20th, 1984, Edmonton announced the trade. They were sending perennial receiving star Tom Scott to Calgary and received all-star middle linebacker Danny Bass in return. The feelings were mixed in the provincial capital. Why did we need a middle linebacker? Didn't we have the greatest one in the history of the game in Dan Kepley, still only 30 years old? And what about Tommy Scott, who was going to catch all the passes from second-year pivot Matt Dunnigan? Not to mention us giving a dangerous weapon to our biggest adversary. No, sir, this was a terrible trade no matter which way you looked at it. History has since told us that perhaps Norm Kimball might have known a thing about horse trading. Tom Scott played part of that 1984 season in Calgary before retiring and riding off into the sunset. Dan Bass, of course, returned to form as a CFL All-Star 4 more times and anchored the middle of the field for 8 years in green and gold, ending up in the Canadian Football Hall of Fame and on the Eskimos' Wall of Honor after his playing days were done. Edmonton ended the 1984 season at 9-7, while Calgary dropped further to 6-10. Some may say it's the natural order of things. And neither team made it to the Grey Cup that year. But Edmonton returned a few years later and won it all in 1987, while Calgary still had years to go until they got back to the big game. One thing is for sure, the trade is one of the key cogs in the first reload in Eskimos history.
Going for a touchdown. Going for a touchdown. Going for a touchdown. We love those Eskimos.
Wow. Lovely once again.
Yeah, a little short one. I thought it was
That's
interesting
okay, though.
looking it up. Right before we the trade, like within a week, Calgary let go one of their favorite receivers in Tom Forzani, who wore 22. So Tom Scott came in and got 22. And 3 days before we did the trade, we let go of Dale Potter, who wore number 30.
30. Interesting.
So it actually worked. I don't know if that played any part of it, but it was interesting how they basically could slide right in from their other teams and keep their numbers.
And you said a trade was divisive among fans?
Among fans,
Oh,
yes. Because, yeah, you're...
You don't say. I've never heard of such a thing.
Good point.
How many receptions did Scott have with Calgary? Do you know?
Not many.
Yeah.
No, it was
He was
not a
pretty
lot.
much spent by that time.
I mean,
so that
he
was
was
a great trade for us.
It was phenomenal. It's just, I think at the time, people were losing their minds, right?
Yeah.
Because
I was one of them.
Sure. Again, why do we need a middle linebacker? We have Dan Kepley, and he's 30.
Yeah.
Like, this wasn't like, he's 36, 37, 38 years old. This
Right.
is,
Yeah.
and then it turns out, Kepley had one more year.
Yep.
So we had both Bass and, in fact, Bass played with a year with Kepley and then a year with Pless at the other end of his career.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
you did all right.
Pretty good bookends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty
kinda
good
helps.
luck at the middle linebacker position.
That's right. Yeah, no kidding. All right, it is time for our Canadian Football Podcast Network game preview. Of course, this week we are back on the brick field at Commonwealth Stadium at 7 o'clock with the return of some quarterback guy.
A few other players, too.
And a few others, yeah. Just a few other. Sheepers.
That's supposed to be the sound of us ripping off.
I see.
Tearing off that Band-Aid.
That's right. Yeah. It's just fresh.
Putting
Get
your
it out
Riley
of there.
photo through the shredder here.
No. I just went to the alumni wall. It's fine. So the tailgate, of course, opens at 5. And Superfan, this week we will feature
Mini sliders.
Beauty.
Yes,
It's
should
gonna
be
be so much
nice.
fun. And of course, the return of Westivus at halftime. So make sure you join us there. Of course, the Super Dogs are also
Yes.
going to be back.
Yes, at
Love those
halftime.
things,
We're
man.
missing
So
it
we are going to be missing
because
it, though.
we give that to the fans.
And we need Westivus. That's
You
right.
can be you're a super fan.
There you go.
you
Super
get-
dogs.
Yeah, they.
So what we'll do is
you
at
trade one
Westivus,
super
we'll
for the
just
other.
throw a flag around on the ground and you chase it, okay? And I'll be close enough.
or a little laser.
Laser pointer.
I like this plan.
This is a great plan.
Superfan lure coursing.
That's right. We'll just chase them all the way over, get a
Mini
beer,
donuts.
then run all the way back. I like this. This is
Mini
great.
donuts.
Those work?
Sure.
Good treats? Okay, perfect. I'm in. All right.
As long as you throw them and catch them with your mouth.
Nope, that's not going to happen. For so many reasons.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's go to the Uncle BD stats moment.
Yes.
Now, last week, Harris's 32 completions and 447 yards puts him in 15th place all time for the Eskimos on those two stats as far as
Not bad
receptions
for your
in a game.
debut.
Right?
Not a
Oh,
bad debut.
goodness.
Yeah. Now, the Esks have a 6-game winning streak at home against the Lions.
Yes.
Of course, all 6 of those are with Riley. So one of
So
those
Riley is a 6-game
streaks, one of those streaks comes to an end. Either Riley loses
We know
in
which one.
Commonwealth. Absolutely.
Yes.
Or what's more likely, we continue our streak. And that's
Yes,
lovely.
yes.
Yeah. Okay. Now let's start, of course, with the BC side of the ball, as we always do, and for that we welcome back our good friend from the BC Lions Den, the Podfather, Brian Warishan. How's it going, man?
I'm doing pretty good, despite a loss last night in our home opener, but there were some promising signs, so onward and upwards from here, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's talk about that game just briefly first. What is it that you saw that did jump out to you that was exciting?
Well, first of all, we have an aggressive offense, and I don't think we've had that in BC for several years now, and I think that's just a factor of Mike Riley being behind the center. And, I think the passing game was great. The running game was basically non-existent. 4 carries for 4 yards, which is kind of mind-boggling. I'm not sure what the game plan was there, but certainly the aggressiveness of the passing game, I think, was a promising sign for the Lions. Backed up inside their own 5 or 10 yard line. I'm not sure which it was, but 2 plays in the red zone and in Winnipeg's red zone. So that's something we haven't seen for a long time here in BC with our quarterbacks. So I think Brian Burnham was on point with Mike Riley, and Duron Carter had a couple nice catches, and Lamar Durant certainly had a great game. So I think the passing game's in good shape, and I think that's a promising sign. On the negative side, it's our defense, the linebacking core looks a little weak, especially stopping the run. The defensive line didn't get much pass rush, so there's certainly some things to build on. But I think overall, there's some promising things to build on as well.
Yeah, I would agree. I think that it's nice to see. I mean, we all know Mike here, and we know what he can do. Riley, not super fan, and we know what both of them can do, but we definitely know what Mike Riley can do in stretching that field, and in a Mike Riley offense, you see that a lot. You see a lot more heavy passing as compared to a balance. Really sucked for me because I took John White in my fantasy, and come on, dude. That's usually my guy.
I took Brandon Rutley, and then they released their depth chart and had him as the starting running back. So and as the starting kick returner. So I figured, okay, well, Rutley's going to return kicks, and White might come in for the first rep of that series after the kick, and then they'll put Rutley back in. No. So I switched it to John White.
And then got less
switched from John White to Rutley, and got basically no points because Rutley didn't return any or have any reps on offense, right? So
yeah. Wow.
Damn depth chart games, they get you every time.
Yeah. Gotta love CFL fantasy.
Yeah.
Well, now as you're coming into Commonwealth, they're going to be here on Friday night, of course. What do you see as the biggest challenge for BC as they come up against the Eskimos after their game last week?
Well, obviously the running game has to be a lot better, and you look at that Eskimo linebacking core, and it doesn't get any easier. I mean, they did a good job against pass protection last night. Willie Jefferson didn't get a sniff on a sack, so the offensive line did a great job. Where they need to improve is start opening up some holes for the running backs, and obviously running the ball more than 4 times is going to help try and mitigate that. But I look at that Eskimo linebacking core, and when you look at the running game last night, I don't see it getting any easier for them. So I think that's going to be one of the biggest concerns. Obviously, Trevor Harris had a great game with Kenny Stafford this week. So getting that in check. There were some defensive breakdowns last night in the secondary as well. So they're going to have to be better on all sides of the ball. And I think Mike's going to do his thing. Obviously, it's going to be a big game for him coming back to Edmonton. So keeping those emotions in check and just going out and playing your game is going to be a key for the Lions, I think.
Yeah, I would agree, and I think you're right about Mike. And you well know when he left BC and then went back, the first times that he was back there, he really wanted to put on a show, and he did. So I'm a little worried about him doing that this week. If there is a player that you really wanted guys to keep an eye on as far as somebody who's up and coming on BC, who would be the guy that we'd be watching this Friday?
Well, he didn't get a lot of looks last night, but there's a player by the name of Javon Catoy. He's a young kid that came out of the Langley Rams junior program. He's like 6'5", 200 pounds, not that big, but, not that heavy, but he's tall, and he's very, very talented. In fact, one of the Lions staffers were quoted this week as saying, enjoy him while he's here, because in 3 years he's going to be in the NFL.
Really?
So, yeah, he's very highly touted. G. Roy Simon's really high on him. Didn't get a lot of looks last night. He's playing the slot back position opposite of Brian Burnham. But, I think that as the season goes on, he's going to make a name for himself in this league. So that might be a player to keep an eye on.
Outstanding. Well, of course, I always want to say I wish you the best of luck, but of course I mean in week 3. So I appreciate you coming back on, though, Brian, and telling us all about this. It's going to be an exciting game on Friday. Plug your show and where everybody can find your stuff so that they can follow you as part of the CFPN.
Yeah, you can find us at bclionsden.ca. That's the main website for the show. And on Facebook at facebook.com/bclionsden.ca, on Twitter at bclionsden and at mojokemp. Instagram, bclionsden_podcast, and that's podcast PAWDCAST.
Awesome. And not only will we get this game this Friday, but then in a few weeks, I'm going to be out in BC to watch the game when we're out there. So I hope we get to hang out and catch up a bit then, man.
Yeah, sounds good. Looking forward to it.
Awesome. It's always good to talk to Brian, and he was feeling a little mixed emotion about that game last Saturday night, but they had some positive things.
Yeah, looking at it as not as the fan as we have done before, being able to watch Riley's game and Odell and John White and everything, it just looked eerily familiar.
Didn't it? Yeah. Start penalty on a kick return, and he has to start in the shadows of his own goalposts. He's used to that. He's
down
used to
at the end and trying to bring it back.
All he has to do is throw the ball 80 yards 100 times. Like, that's, it's awfully familiar.
Not seeing a lot of run game.
What? No.
What did John White have? 4 rushes?
4 rushes for 4 yards. Yeah, it was pretty good. Yeah,
and then disappeared.
Riley's going to lead the team in rushing.
Again.
And that'll be
dangerous,
hilarious. Anyway, let's talk about the Esks side of the ball, shall we? Let's talk about the keys for the Eskimos to win the game. Ken, let's start with you. What are the big keys as we go up against the Lions?
Well, the obvious thing is to contain Riley, but I don't know. That BC offense looks a little out of sync, and I think hopefully Namba is back and the defense is intact, and they can look as good as they did in the first 3 quarters of the game against Montreal, and shut down the Lions. So let's hope that happens. And if our offense is clicking as well as it was in that first game, I'd be a little worried if I was the Lions defense. There are a lot of holes in that defense compared to last year.
Just a couple.
When you're putting that much money into one player.
Yeah, that does happen.
It's got to come somewhere.
Yeah, exactly. Commissioner?
2 kind of things. One more on the mental side, that the Eskimos really have to go into this game like any other game. It's just a game. It's nothing that they haven't done before. It's not against Riley. It's against the Lions.
Fair.
Secondly is, ironically, put pressure on Riley and keep him off his feet, or keep him on his feet and keep him, like you said, contained, but also not letting him get through any holes. So really messing with him, frustrating him, making him feel uneasy. And a part of that, too, has to come from the fans. So we have to do our part and bring a lot of noise. So. Yeah.
Love it.
I think we'll give him an ovation when he first gets
Of course.
After that, he's the enemy.
Respect.
That's
like,
right.
he's done so much for this team, and he's a great person.
Yeah.
Except on when the clock starts, then it's a whole different story.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Super fan.
A couple of things. So, who I'm going to be looking at, I'm looking to see the same kind of play that we saw in the last game. I want to see lots of rushes. I want to see lots of screens. I want to see lots of everything to mix things up. But for a player, I'm going to start looking at the returning game again. I want to see what Jordan Robinson's going to bounce back from that last game.
And he will.
I think he's going to. I don't know if Martese Jackson is close. If he's long, is he on 6 or 1 game?
I believe it's the 1.
Yeah, so it's possible he could come back.
Yep.
And then Jovan Santos-Knox, Javon. I think if he can play, I think he can make a difference maker. So if Unamba isn't there, I think if we can get Santos-Knox back, I think that can sort of balance that out. And we've raved about Brian Walker if he's going to be slotting in that Sam spot. So.
Yeah, if he does come in for that, absolutely. I think I agree with you in the fact that we have to really look at the kicking game. I think the key to this game, though, is to really reel in the penalties.
Yeah.
I mean, the penalties and turnovers obviously would have made a huge difference in the Montreal game if we can limit those.
Close.
Right? If we can limit those a little more, preferably. I mean, you're going to get some penalties. There's no doubt about it, but we got to stop the after the whistle ones, right? The undisciplined, the roughing the passers, and the odd one of those might even sneak in, but you just can't get the
I'd like to get rid of some
unnecessary roughness. Like
even
that's
the
tough.
procedure ones. You know what the snap count is. You're the ones that are determining that.
Yeah.
Right. So a little bit on that. I think that'll be a big thing. If we can kind of wrangle those in, I think we should be okay. Mike, you already said which players you're watching. Anybody in the game you'd be watching specifically there, Ken?
Somebody that I've really been hoping is able to strut his stuff and show what he's got is Tavon Smith. He didn't get a lot of looks in that first game, but in the preseason, boy, did that guy look good.
Yeah.
He was able to get separation every time they were throwing to him. He's got some speed to burn, too, so I'd really like to see them
maybe they'll
start to utilize him.
They'll free him up.
Yeah.
Love it.
Diversify the receiving end a little bit.
That
more.
guy's got talent. I really hope he stays healthy and that they find a spot for him. I think the Eskimos have had so many Canadian receivers over the years that have never really fully realized their potential. You go back to guys like Nick Mazzoli.
Right.
I always thought he was a guy that they needed to use more. And Nate Kuhorn, I don't think he was used very well.
He had some good games or some good plays in games, and then there was nothing.
Mostly a blocker.
Right.
Yeah, excellent blocker.
And Shamad never really got much of a chance either, so I really hope that Tavon gets a great chance. Yeah,
okay, that's fair.
Yeah, it was the same kind of with Nate,
yeah.
Like he I said it last year, and I'm sticking to it, but he is a very underrated and undervalued, mostly on the other side of, like, not by the team because they clearly value him. But he, again, I rewatched this game, another few amazing blocks. Like, this guy is so dope. I'm not watching. Oh, I'm always watching him, but he's not my choice. But I just wanted to throw that in there as, like, a Canadian that he's a valuable person.
Yeah, absolutely. His block on the first TD, it wouldn't have happened if he didn't make that block.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
So I'm actually another ironically going to watch Money.
Okay.
For this one, he was the top. Oh gosh, see, this is why I wish I had my notes. The was it tackles? He was the only
tackles is Mondo.
No, not like just he was the only Eskimo in that field, and he had 9. And I can't remember what it is. I need my notes. Anyway, he did have a pretty decent game, despite his stupid little antics that just infuriate me. So I'm going to watch him. I think he has really good potential. I think he just needs to reel in his attitude and his youngness, if you will, and really start to be the Fodell we know and love.
It was really interesting to see the rotation at safety last game.
Yeah,
very much so.
Yeah, the Hoover and Hunter and Beaulieu. And even in the secondary, you saw guys like Glass rotate in and out.
Was Jordan playing?
Yeah.
Oh, that must have been Hutter. That was. I saw
Hutter is on the PR.
They look exactly the same from here up because I thought I saw him on the sidelines in a cap. So I was like, "Oh, Jordan's not playing. That's weird." But that's Hutter. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
I guess it keeps him fresh.
Yeah.
keep rotating around. Player that I'm going to watch this game, I just kind of want to see a little bit more push out of the middle of the D line. I'm going to be watching Mike Moore. I thought Mondo had a great game, 5 tackles, was in the backfield a lot.
He can't wait to hit Mike Riley.
I can only imagine.
Cannot wait.
Yeah, I'm excited to see that. But I think there's a lot of focus on Mondo, so and Moore got back there once or twice, but I want to see him get in there more. I want to see him get that push, and whoever it is that's playing on the opposite end of Kwaku,
if it's Usher or if it's Bazzi.
Usher, Bazzi, whoever
Bazzi
it might be.
would love to play against his old team.
Is that the one? Is he on the one game?
He was on the one.
Okay.
Yeah. But, I'd love to see some push from that left side of the defensive line.
Both Adams and Anthony O'Pipkin are both a lot more elusive than Riley is.
Yeah.
So I think that, we were close to getting more sacks this last game. I think those could turn into sacks this game.
Here's hoping.
I have an inquiry then, because these guys obviously...
Away.
I shall. These guys know Mike Riley for what, like... 7 years.
Yeah, but I think we've had 60% turnover. So
like
a lot of the team hasn't.
Yeah.
No. I'm just saying, like, because Mike Riley has been playing so long and he is a veteran, can he change his methods enough to throw off the defense? Like,
I don't think so. I mean,
Kinda
could
hard
he
to.
or couldn't he? Maybe. But why would he when that's what's made him successful?
because if he doesn't, which I understand why, because he's successful, but I mean, the guys that know him so well can kind of have a little
Most of them are on
advantage.
the Lions now.
Yeah.
And that's okay. I like the way this all sounds.
Not Mondo,
Go
and
get
he
him.
wants it more.
Yeah,
he's hungry.
That's true. That's very true. So no, I think there's lots of excitement there on how that'll turn out.
Yeah, we're looking for Chris Edwards to have a big game.
Oh, of
in the
course.
penalty department.
Yes.
Of course, yeah. Return the
Those
favor.
flags fly.
That'd be great. Yeah. Now, last week when we did our prop bet, I didn't give credit to the Horseman podcast, who basically have started this idea a long time ago. And we tried it last year, and then I got angry, and then we stopped. But this year, we're doing it the whole year. We're being positive. I do like the positive part of this. So the stat this week that we're picking over under.
Okay.
The Gable rushing average, over or under 7 yards.
Per carry, sorry?
No, it's his average for the entire game.
Average per carry.
Average per carry.
Sorry,
Okay,
yes.
I was like,
average
I
per
don't
carry,
know.
7 yards per carry over the whole game.
What was he this game?
Over under 7.7 this game. Different BC defense.
The safe thing would be to say under. Obviously, statistically, that's not going to happen 2
Under?
games in a row. But as we mentioned, BC's defense, it might be a few holes.
So, what are you doing? Over
Under. I'll say under.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go under as well, but I think that they're going to use him differently. So you might see, again, more screens, more release valves, and things like that. So he might get more yards receiving, and that's a smaller average rushing.
Okay. Kayla?
I hope I'm wrong.
You go first, because I'm thinking.
No, I'm already picking you.
Well, I want to be different, so I was gonna.
Then be different.
Well, I don't know what he's picking. Okay. Well, I don't know.
All right, I'll go first then. You ready?
You're gonna say over.
You sure am.
I know, because I was gonna say
Yeah.
that. And I was like, wow.
Yeah, I'm picking. I'm picking over because I think the middle of that BC Lions defense is not as good as it once was without Solomon Eliminian.
But they might,
they
might cheat
Andrew
up the
Harris kind of
linebackers.
ate them up last week.
It's Andrew Harris, yeah.
Yeah, and it is Andrew Harris. I understand, but I have a feeling he might be just a smidge over.
Okay,
Because I always pick different and maybe I'm wrong. Wait a second, maybe I should pick up. Go ahead. Yeah.
She graduates and all of a sudden.
I tell ya. She just shushed me.
Historically.
I'm practicing for teaching.
Works well.
Story. I'm gonna say under only because not that I don't want him to be over, but under because I kind of want them to, like you were mentioning before, diversifying their everyone.
Right.
So more of a balance too, but I want them to kind of use Nate a little bit more as a running back instead of a receiver. As personally, just because I think he's so beastly that he could totally find those routes and just blow through.
Beastly.
Like Gable, like
Again,
he's just like
I think he'll be under. I think he'll be like 6.8.
Okay.
Still a pretty
6.95.
That's right.
I still say over. Okay.
That's
Okay.
fine.
Let's pick our other games.
Those.
Now, this is the first week where there's only 3 games to pick, so we
Yeah.
only have 2 other games that we have to pick this week. First one is Saskatchewan versus Ottawa, and this one is in Ottawa. Super fan. You
This
get
is
to
a
go
tougher
first.
one. I mean, I think Ottawa exceeded most people's expectations.
You think?
I mean, if you don't live in the nation's capital, you probably didn't pick Ottawa to beat Calgary in Calgary.
You know what? Ryan Coop picked Ottawa, and he lives in Winnipeg. I'm like, how did you go 4-0? That is so not fair.
Well done, Ryan.
Yeah, whatever. Come on. So not right. Anyway, good for him. Kind of.
Yeah, anyway.
not bitter.
I think that Saskatchewan is going to do better. They've got at least know that their quarterback is going to be their quarterback for the
whole
week
game?
of practice.
Yeah.
No, I don't know.
They still don't know. They haven't made a decision.
Yeah.
Dickinson says he's going to play both of them, and whoever gets the hot hand is going to finish.
Is that right?
That's a recipe for disaster.
You
right
think?
there.
Oy.
So,
Does he have to go through like protocol?
Again, I think Saskatchewan
No,
will
no,
do
no.
better.
He's on the 6th game.
Oh,
Zach's on the
Ugly
Ugly
Sidney
Sidney
Crosby's
Crosby's on the he's on the 6th
See,
game.
At least.
names confuse me unless you use a nickname.
Got it.
Anyway,
Yeah.
And other guy is going to play. I don't know nicknames for the other guys.
Other
Not Ugly Sidney Crosby.
Fadjadu?
Fajardo?
Yeah.
Oh.
I was trying to think of a name, but I couldn't come up with one fast enough.
I thought he was a kicker.
Yeah, actually, we could do that.
Sizzling Fajardo.
Fajardo.
Yeah, I think Saskatchewan will do better, but I still think Ottawa at home is going to take this one.
All right, Ken?
I agree with Mike. I think Saskatchewan is in deep trouble for the next till they can figure out the quarterback quandary here.
Yeah.
Who's their running back now? Powell?
Yeah.
He looked extremely good the first game, but he's going to be pretty much
alone.
it. And
it's
you
going
can
back
bet
home.
Ottawa's going to be keen on him. If they shut him down, I think they'll pretty much shut Saskatchewan's entire offense down.
That's pretty much everyone's recipe for this season.
Yeah.
Stop
Ottawa's on a bit
game.
of a roll.
Yeah.
I think the Red Blacks for sure.
All right.
Yeah, with a revival, if you will, even though it's one game that no one expected Ottawa to win. I mean, fluke or not, they did it.
Yep.
So going back home with these Red Blacks fans, like on the high of a win against the best team in the league.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, they won the Grey Cup.
Yeah, but how many of those players are gone now?
It's still that team. It's still the Calgary Stampeders. So...
Yeah, all right.
I know it's a new season, but you're coming off the backs.
That's
you
true.
beat the champs. You kind of a little bit of a little. So
Stop living in the past.
All right. Yeah.
Oh, that's rich.
That's why I say it. Says me to the history major.
Right? So much grave digging.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ottawa. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Let me tell you why Saskatchewan's going to win. No, I'm not doing that. I thought I would be a little...
Because it's opposite day?
Yeah, no, Ottawa wins this one. All right, next game is Hamilton versus Toronto. This is Toronto's season opener and home opener. Ken, we will start with you this time. Who do you have in that one?
I think you have to go with the Ticats. I think they're the clear-cut favorite they're the best team in the East right now. Interesting to see what Toronto's offense looks like this year, and as to whether... Franklin can take over that offense once and for all. But I still think the Ticats are just way too strong right now. But I don't know. Toronto made a lot of nice acquisitions in the off season.
Yeah.
They've certainly improved in a lot of areas, but I didn't see any of their preseason action, so I don't know what they look like here.
Yeah, that's
but
fair.
I would give it to the Ticats for sure.
Okay.
Is Franklin starting? It
Franklin.
doesn't matter who it was awake. I've been waiting to say that.
Wow. Good Lord, that was loud. All right, then.
Awake? No,
Okay.
seriously, Franklin is starting?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. And you're still going Ticats.
Well, yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Good. Excellent.
I mean...
Okay. Toronto shocks the world and beats the Ticats. And
I
their
don't mind
home
if they,
opener,
yeah.
that's what I'm picking. I think Franklin and that offense and Darrell Walker and the additions that they put in on the defense, I think they're going to surprise some people this year. I don't know that they'll win enough to get first, but I think Hamilton is a little beat up after last week, and I think Toronto takes advantage and their Argos pull out a win.
I took Toronto in Pick'em.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah, I thought that this was going to be the upset this week. We certainly had a few upsets in the last last week.
Just a couple, yeah.
I think it's going to just keep continuing. I think that Hamilton and Toronto aren't as far apart as people gave them credit for. Franklin didn't play a ton in the preseason. They played a lot more McLeod Bethel Thompson, a lot more of their Canadians. I think that there's still going to be that Walker and Franklin connection that they showed when they were both starting off the practice roster and getting into the action. I think it's going to upset and surprise a lot of people.
All right.
I hope
Excellent.
so. I want the East to start
being competitive.
Hey,
It'll be great.
if Edmonton lost, the East would have won all their games.
That's right. Yeah. So good thing we didn't. Yeah. Pick'em leader this week is Cooper Trooper, who went 4-0. Mike, you are second in our Pick'em pool, and I am sitting at 25.
Close.
I did go 3-1. Just I don't pick scores very well, I guess. So I guess that's what it was. Now, our CFPN Fantasy League, of course, that was set up by Ryan of the Canadian Football Countdown of the Canadian Football Podcast Network. We both won our first week, which was great.
I went against the two oldest serving last week and this week.
Exactly. So well done on the big win there. This week, I am up against Rod from the Wood Cookie Sawcast, and you are up against the Podfather.
Yeah.
So that's going to be lots of fun. All four of us are all 1-0, so this will break up the standings at the top a little bit. In our Eskimo Empire Podcast League, Ashley is the leader in our fantasy group, who is Shelly's daughter from Okotoks. And that was she's so stoked to be in first.
Getting my butt kicked by a teenager.
Yep. And all we can say is Shelly's raising him right. That was outstanding. So, of course, you did very well with co-host Kenny. And in that league, you are 14th and I am 28th.
There you go.
So I have a little room to make up.
Still got some climbing.
Yeah, I got some climbing. Well, thanks, guys, for coming down. This was awesome, as always.
Always great to talk after a win.
Oh, I know. I love it. Yes. Let's do a little plugs. Ken, where does everybody find you if they want to catch up with you online?
Twitter, it's KDawson70, and I'll let you have a guess as to where the 70 comes from.
Oh, yeah. I have fairly good guess.
Hugh O'Neill fan.
Perfect. As it should be.
That's right.
That's right. Commissioner?
At Duchess Lombardi, and my other one I don't remember.
At Empire Photography.
No,
they should be following that.
No, at Empire. No,
Photo.
Is it
Empire Photo?
Yeah,
is that what it is? Oh, okay.
So.
I thought it was pretty, but Empire Photography. Look it up because I had all the great pictures on there.
Yeah, apparently.
Yeah,
well, people only like my football stuff. They don't like my other artsy stuff.
Artsy.
I like it all. Superfan?
We like your artsy stuff.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Because my last one got 0 likes.
Oh, wow.
So thanks, guys. I appreciate
We're old,
it.
though. We don't know how to click it. You can find me at 56 Parkies.
Lovely. And you can find me at Free Policious. Of course, the show at Esk Empire Pod. Make sure you're following Pay It Forward with Football on Facebook and get those nominations into Quentin and Samantha. And make sure, of course, you find all of our social channels on our website, eskempire.ca. We will be back next week to talk about the big win over Riley. And, of course, we'll set up the game against the Bombers. And we have a returning featured fan next week as well. So is it time to take it to the Lions and get to 2-0? Absolutely. For Ken, Commissioner Kayla, and Superfan Mike, I'm Andrew. Remember, you can't catch footballs with your face, and we will absolutely talk to you next week.
Thanks for listening. Find more great shows like this at CF Pod Network on Twitter.